Hey, Ole'Pops here. I was sitting here reading. I was trying to finish up a book that I've been reading on a while, I guess. It's been keeping me company through the thing. It was originally titled Der Zauberberg. It was originally copyrighted in 1924. Not this particular volume. This particular volume came out in 1957. It's a copy of Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain. I heard a lot about it, and I'm just about to finish it up. I'm like a little less than 75 pages finishing it up. It's a cult classic, and there's a good reason for it. If you ever get a chance to read it, I highly recommend it. I don't exactly know how it's going to end, but I am looking forward to it. They are our hero, Hans Castorp, and his esteemed colleagues and his fellow patients at the Bergau, the hospital that he is a patient in, are conducting a seance at this moment in time. And they are trying to, they have already they've contacted the spirit of a poet, Holger, the poet, and we'll leave it at that. But it's a textbook that I bought on sale from a college collection offline. I'm smoking a little bit of Hobbit's weed that was sent to me by a friend of mine from North Carolina, Mr. Jim Long, and smoking it in a Lorenzo that was gifted to me by my good cuz, Corvette Jim. I was driving down the street the other day, and looked over in a field and saw some Canadian geese. Camping out, I guess. What do you call them? They were just kind of hanging out in a creek. It's about time for them, I guess, to start flying back to where they come from, but there were some kids chasing them. And I got to thinking, what are they going to do when they catch one, and if they catch one, And all of a sudden, these goose started flying. And I thought to myself, I said, it sure does put a damper on their hunting expedition. You know, when geese start flying, you know, these kids sneaking around, trying to be stealth and sneak up on a goose, and all of a sudden it starts flying. Sort of takes fun out of it. I know it doesn't make much sense to you guys. I'm sure it doesn't, but to me, it just seemed, my mind, I'm coming out from this thing, and the things that my mind is going through right now, and just takes the fun right out of goose hunting when they start flying. You know, with the COVID thing going around, I was one of the symptoms, one of the worst symptoms that you go through is diarrhea. And nobody likes diarrhea. But I was listening to some of the commercials late at night on TV for medication that they're selling nowadays, and some of the names for medications that they're selling, and thinking to myself, some of the names of these medications, it sounds like these days that they're really grasping for straws these days to name some of these medications. They're not putting a whole lot of thought into it. They're just reaching out there for any old syllable that they can come up with these days to name some of these medications. For instance, Duplicta. You know, I don't know what it's for, and I feel sorry for anybody that's taking it. But I got to thinking about the diarrhea, and a good name for diarrhea medication, gonorrhea. Wouldn't gonorrhea be a good name for diarrhea medication? You know, it's just the way my mind works. Sorry. I was picking my guitar the other day, and I was thinking about the rise in popularity of these self-driving vehicles. You know, I saw a self-driving vehicle. They were doing an advertisement for a self-driving vehicle, and I thought to myself, I said, I'm going to write a country song about a guy whose truck runs off and leaves him. You know, just truck texts him from the interstate and says, I've had it. I'm leaving. The truck just writes him a Dear John letter and takes off and leaves him. Doesn't even stop for gas first. It's an electric truck, you know. I was wondering the other day if, I was feeling so bad. I was flipping through the channel, and I came across the MTSU channel, and came across this girl sitting there in a pair of spandex pants and like a sports bra, and she was down on her hands and knees doing these stretches. And she was saying, 1, 2, 1, 2. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on now. And I thought to myself, I said, I can do it. It's all I can do is watch you do it. So I got to thinking, does refusing to exercise or go to the gym Does that count as resistance training? I'm writing a book on reverse psychology. Whatever you do, don't buy it. My dad was a bookkeeper for over 50 years. He was a good father. God bless him, he was a wonderful father. But he was a certified CBA. But he owned his own practice, and he kept people's books. And he was a bookkeeper for over 50 years. Let me tell you, he had every library between here and Alabama pissed off. We couldn't check out a book anywhere. That's why I started collecting my own books. Went to the mall with Gracie. She was feeling good enough to get up and get out. She wanted to do a little shopping. And I didn't feel a whole lot like getting up and walking around, but I tell you, I got to watching people. Mall's a great place to do some people watching, but I got to watching folks. And I've noticed my fear of moving stairs is really escalating these days. While we were there, they had a meeting of the local kleptomaniacs association meeting out in the middle of the kiosk, on a kiosk out there, and you know, in the kiosk area, in the hallway. And I was going to attend it, but all the chairs were taken. So I just sat there and waited for Gracie to do her shopping. And I got to thinking about, there was a Western shop down and to the left, and they had this little display. These guys came out wearing masks. Of course, everyone in the Old West wore masks, but you could hear them down there with their little cap gun, you know, but you could hear them down there. Every now and then you'd hear one of them say, "This town's not big enough for the both of us," you know. I'm a firm believer that a lot of the conflict in the Old West could have been solved or could have been avoided with just a little bit of better architectural design. You know what I mean? Just make the town a little bigger. But anyway, I digress. I kept sitting there. And finally, I pulled my phone out and was checking my emails, and all of a sudden, boop, I looked, and I got a spam text, and I checked to see who it's from. It's from the gambling hotline. Gambling hotline. I deleted it. And I was checking my emails, and I got couple of emails from a couple of you guys, and I appreciate y'all keeping up with me. And got an email from the IRS talking about the, I keep saying stipend. My daughter keeps correcting me and saying it's stimulus. It's a stimulus check. Sorry. And then all of a sudden, boop, I looked down again, and it was a damn spam. And it said gambling hotline. So I deleted it. So I was checking, looking again, and all of a sudden I get another text, and it's from my oldest daughter. And she was talking about the flute that Market TPI sent to me, and wanting the dimensions on the sock that she's making for it. So I talked to her for a few minutes. Next thing you know, boop, I look down, spam, gambling hotline. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, I don't gamble. I know you're thinking, here comes the punchline. He's going to say, I'll bet you I don't, but no, I don't gamble. I've never had a problem with gambling in my life. Matter of fact, I don't know how these people keep getting my name, but every now and then I'll get a string of spam texts that just keep coming. And I think every now and then I'll get one from the suicide hotline, and I saved their number in my contacts because, somebody might need that one someday, and I'd like to have it to give it out to somebody if they needed it. But I'm certainly not going to pass out the gambling hotline. But I think they'd be a whole lot more successful with this gambling hotline if they'd make every fifth caller a winner or something. Just do something like that. Every fifth text is a winner. Then they'd have something going for themselves. But finally, I blocked them and reported them as what do you call it? Pornography. My daughter came back up and she caught me sitting there taking a nap. And she tried to wake me up. She said she tried for 30 minutes before I'd wake up. I said, what do you mean you tried for 30 minutes? She said, yeah, I tried to wake you up. You wouldn't wake up. She said, so I walked on down to Macy's and I came back and tried and you wouldn't wake up. So I walked on down to, then I came back and tried again and you wouldn't wake up. So I walked on. She said, you're like a little child. She said, you refuse to take your naps at home. She said, but we take you out somewhere and you fall asleep in public. I asked her, I said, so if a child resists, if a child won't take his naps at home, is he guilty of resisting arrest? Well, is he? It was about that time she started trying to decide whether or not she was going to let me drive home. But I had the keys. Anyway, we came on home. She came in and took a nap. I came back here and shot a video. So, she's not resisting arrest. And for some reason, I can't get a nap. Go figure. Y'all take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Much love. I'm Ole'Pops.